Today, I want to welcome Matt Peak from Parkside Collectibles to the show. He is the vice president and co-founder of Parkside and is joining us to fill us in on all things Parkside. So welcome, Matt.
Thank you. Very, very happy to be here with you. Long time follower of what you've been putting out. So kind of honored that you would consider talking to me.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I love talking to folks that are inside the hobby, in the trenches, getting these cards into the hands of collectors. And so I'm glad you are free and able to come chat for a little bit today. Before we get into the details of Parkside, I want to learn a little bit more about you and your collecting background. So what is your hobby origin story?
My hobby origin story is Wawa. So I was a soccer playing rugrat in Maryland, and one day I was at a Wawa and I picked up a pack of baseball cards, and I remember it vividly. The first card in the pack was 1986 Cal Ripken Topps, and I was hooked. My dad and family, we'd gone to a couple Orioles games, but it hadn't become a family tradition yet. But we had gone to a couple ball games, and it was, Old Memorial Stadium, Baltimore, the Orioles with Ripken, Murray, those guys. It was just amazing. Bought that pack of cards on a total random whim, and it was over. And so, that one pack beget probably 700 or 800 packs of 86 Topps, and, expertly trying to figure out how to cut the cards off the bottom of the boxes. And then I discovered Fleer and Donruss, and that Christmas, I think I got my first traded set, which, had Bonds and Canseco and Bo Jackson and everyone's absolute favorite player of the era, Pete Incaviglia. It was on. And then every waking moment was playing sports or getting trading cards. Along the way, picked up some football cards, discovered my brother, who's 10 years older, had some 78, 79, and 80 and 81 Topps football cards sitting in a toy box somewhere. So I think he had 3 Montana rookies, which were beat to crap, but I loved them. And so it never really left. When I was in college, it was a little bit of a different thing. I would covertly sneak into the Walmart or the local store, but then, uprooted my life, came to Los Angeles, discovered Burbank Sports Cards like 10 seconds from my house, and it's just been a part of what I do.
So did you have any break in collecting? You said it was a little bit different while you were in college, but many of us took a break there, kind of in our early 20s or so. Did you have much of a break, or did you kind of collect full time all on through that?
No, I mean, in college, it was just it wasn't a topic of thought, but every now and again I would find myself craving it, and I'd buy a pack here and there.
Sure.
Those are those years where I really wish I bought a lot of NBA product. Darn. Yep. But it was college is college is a lot of stimulus.
Yep.
And trading cards weren't a part of it. But as soon as I was out and, kind of wandering through what was the beginning stages of trying to figure out how to be an adult, I found a lot of comfort in sort of walking back into a trading card shop and picking up a pack here and there. Or, I've always said when Topps flagship comes out, I got to buy a hobby box. It's part of my yearly ritual. It feels like that's how I know baseball is going to come around. And I'm an Orioles fan, so it's been some lean years, and now I feel like that's on the upturn. So I'm really looking forward to the 23 Topps product.
It's really awesome that from my perspective, we've got that connection of 1986 Topps, because that was my first year collecting too. That was my first pack of cards too, was a solo pack of 1986 Topps. What is your collection like? Do you have a primary focus of your collection now? Is it, Orioles players? Is it, something else from your childhood favorite teams, or, where's that collection focused?
It's weird now. It's very strange, because more often than not, I find myself staring at things going, oh, I really wish I had this and that. But then I'm like, oh, it's hard to put a focus on what really is a good collection. So I have 3 pseudo collections that I'm sort of thinking about now. I have a box of, these are things that I think my daughter will think is cool down the road. And so it's a hodgepodge of stuff. I mean, there's some first edition Pokemon in there that are, just random. There's like every single possible rookie of like the goats of this first generation of women athletes that have had trading cards. Tarasi, Bird, Alex Morgan, stuff of that ilk. I've got a Serena Williams Net Pro card that looks like somebody used it in the spokes of their bicycle, but it was the only thing I could find, and it worked. I've got the thing that I sort of like is the weird celebrity rookie cards, like the Jay-Z Bowman or the Jay-Z Topps Chrome, stuff like that. That's sort of my little novelty collection. And then I will always be the guy that likes to try and find, one or two good paper-based rookies of guys that I think are legends, are going to, or part not legends, but are going to be like superstars. Like
Sure.
obviously the fourth collection is everything we're making at Parkside, because we're putting binders aside so that, when we're just dust, our kids and our grandchildren can be like, oh my gosh, this is our family legacy. But like I like a Bowman product just because, you get those Gunnar Henderson rookie cards pre everybody realizing Gunnar Henderson's a monster. And you get, you go even further back. I mean, like, God, how Jake DeGrom rookies were what, $1 a piece at one point in time, and just stuff like that. So I have a nice kind of shoebox of just those cards and top loaders. What are they? $5 cards, but you pick them up, you put them in there, and then ultimately one day they're all Hall of Famers, and you feel great about it.
This is probably a good time then. You mentioned Parkside. Let's dig into Parkside. Some folks may not know as much about the company. And so what's the story behind Parkside Collectibles?
There's a long and winding road, or there's just like the super straightforward and simple one. In 2018, my business partner Eric and I were working in television, and that was his path. He had been producing reality television and some narrative TV for a long time. I had been a writer who sort of got away from it, and he was pulling me back into it. And we started looking at things and thinking we wanted to play in consumer goods. And I know saying play in consumer goods sounds ridiculous because it's such a crazy space, but we just were like, we're talented, we're smart, we can figure this stuff out. And at about the same time, my daughter, who is a soccer player, and his daughter, that's actually how Eric and I met. We met coaching AYSO soccer. My daughter, offhandedly one night at Target made a comment about women's soccer cards, because I was buying a pack of baseball cards. She was very much getting into the U.S. women soccer team in a really big way. And she just said, Dad, do they make cards of them? And I said, no, they don't. And she said, that's dumb. And it was just light bulb. So the next day we sat around the table where we would normally talk, television ideas, and put together, what we were going out with and trying to turn into a business model there. And I said, my kid said, Sophie said this thing. And, we just did a board game and kickstarted it. And in the process of doing a board game, we met the people at Cardamundi who make trading cards. And so we had a 10-second conversation. Eric was just like, this is weird. I don't know anything about this space, but I'm ready to learn. And if we can do women's soccer, because both of our kids are into it, and it's everywhere you look now, it's just growing, I'd be into it. And so I think like a week later, we had emailed the NWSL. They said, not yet. And so we decided that the not yet is a great thing. Let's go figure out how to make trading cards. And in 2019, we made our first product with Major League Lacrosse, which is now a defunct league. It got folded into the Premier Lacrosse League. But they were gracious. They were wonderful. They were willing to let two guys that had never made trading cards before, use their IP to sort of figure out how to do it. And it was an absolutely magnificent learning experience. And then 2 years later, well, not 2 years later, the next year, we hit the NWSL up again. They said not yet. And then 3 months later, they were like, now. And again, complete tip of the hat to them. They were willing to let two guys that really were still learning on the job take on this kind of monumentous or this momentous endeavor. And here we are. We're still learning, we're still striving, and we're having a blast doing it.
So Major League Lacrosse was your first product. Ultimately, that led to kind of what is your premier product right now, or your foundational product of the NWSL license. But you also did some Big Three basketball in that early couple of years too.
Yeah,
was that also in your first year?
that was in 2019 as well. Yeah, it was awesome. We had a couple quick conversations with them. We found out very quickly that Target would be on board with actually stocking some of it, and so that was a really great product. Another learning experience. We had a lot of fun building that. I don't think a lot of people know much about that product because it was, A, new company, B, strange new league.
Yep.
But when we built that product, we were really sort of paying homage to basketball as much as we could. So, if you open those, you get, there's Rick Barry autographs, there's Rick Mahorn autographs, there's just all these great players. And then we bought thousands of Topps and Fleer rookie cards of the guys that were in the Big Three, and did rookie card, just put rookie cards in the packs as well. So to my recollection, there was a Dr. J rookie card in there. And I know somebody's pulled it by now.
Yeah.
But there were a couple Rick Barrys. There was like just a ton of Mike Bibby's, ton of Lamar Odoms. It was a fun bunch of Lisa Leslie rookie cards. We just had a lot of fun with it. And then 2020 was we tried to do another small Major League Lacrosse set. That was our first NWSL set towards the end of the year. In the middle of 2020, we did probably one of the sets that we're most proud of. We did a centennial celebration for the Negro League Baseball Museum. I think we made the very first baseball card of Jordan Walker and Mason Wynn, some legitimately like superstar prospects now, which I think have flown under the radar a lot.
Yeah. I remember seeing that set when it first came out, and it seemed interesting, and it's something that people weren't doing is putting that focus that you guys were having on the Negro League there. The NWSL has seen some fantastic growth over these last couple of years. I read recently that their attendance rose something like 70% year over year. Their TV viewership was up. How have you been able to take advantage of this increase in popularity?
I think we've been very fortunate. We've had great partners with Walmart and Target in getting the product out there in front of people. We've had great partners with the league in showcasing what we're doing. I think it's just really a matter of us, doing our very best job to service the athletes, service the teams and the league, and making a good product that people can find and afford. One of our big points with the NWSL has been really trying to keep it at this like $10 price point, because we're asking a lot of people that are not necessarily traditional NWSL fans, but are trading card collectors to come on board. And we're seeing it. We're seeing it in our socials, and it's pretty great. This year is going to be an amazing year. It's a World Cup year. Our U.S. ladies are going to go in and represent the country on the global stage in what is the largest women's World Cup ever. So the visibility is there. Our job is to just consistently and repetitively do the very best product we can, which every day, I promise you, we're learning and endeavoring to just get better and better and better. And I think this is the year where it's really going to all come together.
You mentioned the challenge of maintaining a price point. You talked about the challenge of having some conversations with these leagues in your early years to obtain some of the licenses that you've had. You mentioned learning as you produce some of these products. What has been the biggest challenge that you've faced so far as you guys were trying to get off the ground?
Production. It is definitely it's the secret to the whole thing. And I don't think anyone has figured it out fully yet. But you endeavor to guarantee that you're cranking out the very best version of your product. And there are always going to be problems with it, but you hope and hope and hope. But it's just like, that is the toughest thing. There is a finite amount of people that can accomplish, the very best in printing and cutting and packaging. And it seems like everybody's fighting to use them. And so they have very limited time and limited resources. And, we're very, again, there are a lot of really, really great people that are in our corner or on our side along this process. The other hardest thing is, and this is maybe like 1B, we have to convince a lot of people still. And I think that this is a problem that women's sports has, but we're convincing a lot of people that this is just as worthy and fantastic as anything that the boys have had for the last 100 years. And I don't hesitate to say this. I actually say this rather quickly and rather happily. Everyone that is avoiding getting into the women's trading card collecting is really going to regret it in a few years. You can just see the seismic growth of let's just use Sue Bird alone. Let's just point to one person. Her rookie cards went from, I think, dollar bin stuff overnight when she started looking at retiring from the WNBA. And at the end of the day, she's going to be remembered as one of the greatest, American basketball players ever. So both of those things, though, are challenges we're ready to tackle and having a blast figuring out how to do it. Onward and upward every day.
What's been the most rewarding thing that you've experienced as you've launched Parkside?
It's we used to try and be a lot better at tracking it, but we would get these pictures, emailed to us, or they'd share them on socials where it's just kids beaming, holding our cards. It's because it takes me back to 1986 in a weird way, but knowing that we're doing that for an underrepresented group of athletes that are every bit as impactful, every bit as important to that kid in that picture, probably to all kids, is the most ridiculously epic feeling about this whole process. And it comes in a variety of different forms. There are so many emails we've gotten from baseball card, football card collecting fathers who have a daughter who they've all of a sudden they've got a hobby together. Just like yesterday, somebody on Twitter was just like, my daughter will not stop demanding we buy more cards. And I'm like, I feel your pain because, for me right now, my kid's 16. So she's demanding that, like, we just go to the mall and spend it all in unnecessary clothing. But like, if my kid has had moments where she's really gotten into what we're doing and stuff, and it's cool to be able to sit there and be like, this was something that was really important to me as a kid. Here it is for you. There's just there's no shortage of amazing parts of what we're doing, of what we've gotten to experience because of this. And we saw it in lacrosse in the first year. And we saw it a little bit with Big Three. We saw it with the Negro League product. But the NWSL has absolutely been the most impactful. We get these photos of the players signing cards at the end of games, and it's the spectrum is full. It's little kids, boys and girls, all the way up to, men that are 20 years older than I am. And you just start to realize that, we have these athletes that have always been inspiring. And, we came along and gave everybody just a little bit of something that could connect them, that could bind them. And then these things will become lifetime memories, perhaps even dynastic memories shared through families. And it's pretty rad.
Yeah, very cool. Some of the smaller manufacturers have focused on unlicensed logo-free products, but you guys have seemed to focus on getting full league licenses from some of the smaller or niche or up and coming leagues. Why do you feel that was the right path for Parkside?
Oh God, that's a hard question, because was it the right path? there's two answers to this one. The first one's going to be the honest answer. The second one, you can do whatever you want with it. We want to be great. You know, we want to be the guys making the cards that are every bit as prestigious as our compatriots, our contemporaries. But it really comes down to the NWSL was our primary goal from day one. And you know, they were very, very cool and very, very receptive to, for better or worse, two guys that barely knew what they were doing coming in and learning with them. You know, I give them all the credit in the world, and I hope that when it's all said and done, that they're proud to have partnered with us. Now I'll give you the other answer, and you can have fun with this one. We're coming for the big boys. Now, I know the big boys are just a big boy now, but they need to know we're coming. So we're going to play in their pool.
There you go. Message received.
Yeah.
What are you excited about in this coming year?
I'm not gonna lie, man. The NWSL does have all my attention. And as a parallel, the US soccer, the women going to the World Cup, it's rad. The level of talent, like, you know, we are all getting to bask in the glory of like Meg Rapinoe and Alex Morgan, and we've been spoiled for a very long time in that regard. But this young generation coming up, they have been boosted to a level I don't think our women or really any domestic athletes other than the dream team have ever seen. The foundation that the US women's soccer team has laid out for the next generation, Sophia Smith, Trinity Rodman, Mallory Swanson, all the way down to, you know, the Alyssa Thompson and her sister Giselle, all the way down to there are 15-year-olds like Chloe Ricketts. The future of US soccer is inspiring, and on the men's side too, and we just get to kind of sit back and watch it, and I hopefully make some great products that celebrate it. You know, we have some other things that we're not really totally ready to start talking about yet that we're hopeful that we'll be able to announce this year. There's also a thing that I know there is a lot of hesitant. Let's not say hesitant. What's the word I'm looking for? There's a lot of trepidation in the hobby. We're doing a digital platform. We are going to do digital collectibles and NFTs, but we've been very passive in how we've built this out because we've been waiting to really understand what makes it work and what makes it not work. And I think when we do it, which is like probably in like 10 days, I think we're going to win a lot of people over because we're going to do it in a different capacity. We're going to have a lot of physical things that are available only through digital packs. Stuff that's going to be really, really unique and really, really scarce. We're also, you know, I don't know how I feel about 6 digital cards for $75. I don't know if that's really the future anyone's ready to dive into. But you know, we're going to try some other things. It's going to be this year's going to be really fun. We're going to get to watch some great soccer on TV. I'm going to get to watch my Orioles hopefully get to the playoffs. You know, and we're going to continue to crank out some great product. We just did our second round of something we call Founder's Choice, which is our unlicensed NIL type cards. We picked 4 athletes that were really, really ecstatic to work with. We still haven't announced them yet because we're waiting for the 4th card to get back in. But as soon as we get that 4th card, they'll go. We have some fun ideas. We're hoping that we can get it all done this year.
When does your next NWSL product come out?
April, probably
okay.
First week of April.
So coming soon here this spring, not too much longer till this season's product comes out. Where can people learn more about you and the company?
Golly, there are a couple resources I think that work out really well. Obviously our website, so parksidecards.com. But I think you'll learn more from the collectors that have kind of dove into the NWSL and Parkside collecting on day one. There's a Facebook group. I think it's 1,000 people strong. They are probably one of the best communities I've ever witnessed. They help each other finish sets. They're very honest about, perceived value, actual value. There's just so much give and take. I think every day there's like 30 or 40 posts of people just working on their NWSL sets. And so if you go to Facebook and you find that group, you'll be welcomed with open arms. And that's probably the single best resource. Twitter is another great resource. There are so many people that will post, hey, looking to trade, looking to get this card for my kid. I think we just shared a young girl had her collection, the rainbow of a player's card, and she drew in cards of the two that she was missing. And so, I mean, this goes back to that stuff that like we all just celebrate and think is awesome. Like, but we shared that, we boosted it, and people were like instantly looking to help her find those two cards. We got a pretty fantastic community of collectors. And we're very gracious and thankful for them, and hopefully they know that. And they're doing a better job than I think anyone else could ever do in trying to open their arms and welcome everyone into collecting the cards of these amazing athletes. So that's probably the single greatest resource I could point anyone towards.
Anything else you want people to know about Parkside before we go today?
We just signed a license with U.S. Soccer with the national women's team. So the She Believes Cup is their domestic tournament, and it happens in 2 weeks, a little bit less than 2 weeks. And we have our first U.S. Soccer trading card product coming out. It's a team set for the She Believes tournament, She Believes Cup. We're very proud of that. I think the number one thing we want everyone to know is we hear everything you're saying, and we're thankful for everyone that's willing to give us a chance. And we hope to bring you some really great product that's fun, affordable, and connects you closer to these amazing athletes that we're very fortunate and honored to represent in this space.
Well, Matt, thanks for spending a few minutes today and sharing more about you and more about Parkside. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.